Hey, all you Arizona lovers. This is the Finding Arizona podcast, episode number 406. Thank you so much for listening and watching. Today's episode is with Green Mango Pest Control. You may have heard of them. You may have even seen their trucks roaming around the whole valley. I want to say thank you to Cameron for coming in, sharing his story. And for those of you who are parents and entrepreneurs, this episode is actually for you. This is one of those episodes that I was really thankful for the moment and for the opportunity, because Cameron actually was in the middle of a family event, and I want to say thank you to him for giving us his time. But it also goes to show you, as a parent entrepreneur myself and just someone who is trying to be a present parent for his child, we understand, we get it. We try and make things work within our schedules. As long as you have that communication with your partner, anything and everything is possible. As long as you make that work within your schedule and you try and make it everything as usable and as in your time frame, go for it. We understand. We'll make it work. I'm an editor myself, so I help edit these episodes, and I will try and make you sound good and make everything as clean as possible. So that's just something that I want to give and share with those who come in through our doors, because that is something that I want parents to understand. It's like, you don't have to give up. You don't have to rely on just normal means. You can really make things work within everything, and that is just something that we want to share with you as parents, that we just get it, and we'll try and make ends meet by making sure either scheduling or time of place, we want to make that for you, because we feel like you have the opportunity to share your story on any occasion. So that being said, let's just get right into the business side. You can hear every episode of our podcast at findingarizonapodcast.com. We make it easy for you to connect with us through social media. That's Finding Arizona Podcast under everything. And last but not least, we have a service arm, and that is called the Found House. If you want to start your own podcast, if you want to create content, you just want to do something to have your voice heard, we can help make that happen. And find us under our new tab under our website, the Found House, and we will share with you what we are capable of doing, and hopefully we can work together in the future. We're going to move on to a little bit behind the scenes. I just recently did an episode, and if you're following us on social media, it's a very exciting one because it's with my alma mater. Yes, ASU. We did an episode with a program that they have. I'm excited to share that episode, but that is just something that is personal to me, because it actually falls within the bounds of like how I went to school and how I, started connecting with secondary education. So I hope you guys will follow that episode, but I hope that you guys are getting the help you need. If you are going into secondary education, you got to connect with your school. You got to connect with a team or someone who's going to be able to help you out through those moments. That all is said because I really want to say thank you to everyone who's been behind us, helping us out. We have a lot more things in the works because of our service arm. We have some things that we're creating, things that we're editing, things that we're moving along. And this year has been a whirlwind of adventure and whirlwind of different tasks that we're given that haven't always been a part of our repertoire, but we are making it work. We're taking strides in being better. And I also want to shout out my boy Tony. Made it happen. 602 days coming down the barrel. I hope that you guys are staying connected with a local buzz, a taste of AZ, all of our friends who are going to be at 602 day, including ourselves, doing live podcasting. I'm very excited. This is something that has been just really in the works behind the scenes, but this is just to show the culture, the city, what we're about as locals, and we hope that you guys will stay connected with us about 602 Day. So that being said, let's just jump right into the episode that it concludes everything behind the scenes, concludes all of our little businessy stuff. Let's get into it. Episode 406 with Green Mango Pest Control. We'll catch you on the next one. See ya. Score big with SeatGeek. Whether it's concerts, sports, or live events, SeatGeek has you covered. Use code Fighting Arizona to get a fantastic $20 discount on your SeatGeek tickets. Catch your favorite live events hassle-free with extra savings. Visit SeatGeek.com and make every experience unforgettable. 2, 1. Welcome back, everybody, to the Finding Arizona podcast. I'm your host, Jose. And as always, we bring in special guests every week. And today is no different. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd love to introduce Cameron here. I'm going to let Cameron introduce his business just because I love hearing it from the person who is the person behind the business, is just maintaining it, doing it day in and day out. So go ahead, Cameron. Let everyone know who we're talking about today and what we're going to get into.
Yeah, so the biggest company that I have is Green Mango Pest Control. We started in 2010 with one truck, and fast forward to today, a little over 13 years later, we're now one of the biggest pest control companies in Arizona. We have over 100 trucks, and yeah, we're just having fun. Then I have a couple other companies, Coconut Carpet Cleaning, and Agave Auto Glass. At one time, we've had a few different service companies in the pool business, alarms, solar, but we've narrowed it down to 3 now. Nice. And that's what we're focusing on, man. So, but yeah, Green Mango's my baby. It's the one that we started with, and all the other ones have come after that.
Absolutely. So you have multiple hats that you're always wearing, and you're kind of, bringing yourself into these different elements of your businesses. And I always love talking to guys like you because we can get into a little bit of everything. Your passion runs the gamut. And so I'm going to just start off with just the first one in the pest control. And I just want to just say, I've seen you guys work magic on people's homes. I've seen it through other influencers on Instagram. And I love that you guys are you're so involved in what you do and just how you guys go about your business. Can you give us a little insight on just how the origin story came to be for this one, and maybe we can go into the other ones as well?
Yeah, so I kind of going back, I never thought I'd be a bug guy, right? I always wanted to be in real estate. My dad was in real estate. Went and got all my aviation licenses. I have my helicopter license because I wanted to show others. Yeah, so that's kind of fun. But the reason why I did is because I wanted to be able to do what my dad did, and that was show investors land in the air.
Yeah.
And when I got home from a church mission in 2009, the market wasn't great for someone like me that didn't have any money. Mm-hmm. And that's when I got recruited into pest control. But when we started our pest control business, there was our license number was 8906, meaning there's 8,905 other companies that already existed in Arizona. And we wanted to be different. And we knew that if we stayed true to our service, meaning not cutting corners in our industry, it's, spending time at the home, product on the house, and, having a technician show up that looked good. He wasn't your typical guy showing up in a van with a nasty mustache, overweight, doing a backpack spray on the home. We showed up in a nice, Chevy truck, flat black, 22-inch rims. Our technicians were decked out in Nike gear. We do not backpack spray houses. We only use the truck mounted power sprayers, and we put down on average, between 12 and 20 gallons on the home, depending on the size. Mm-hmm. Our competitors are putting down 2 to 3 gallons. They're in and out in 5 to 10 minutes. We're spending north of 20 minutes on the home. And that cost us a ton of money. We weren't profitable until year 6. I didn't take any money out of the business until, year 6. That's because we kept reinvesting and just kind of staying true to who we were and what we did. And one of the greatest stats that I love talking about is that, we grew our business by customer referral. No matter how much money we put on radio, billboard, Google, Meta, whatever it is, our customer referrals outperformed anything we ever did. And that's just a testament to who our guys are, who our technicians were in our service, in our office. And it's just, I preach that so much with people that are starting a business. It's like, hey, if you want to be a business that's in business forever, you need to take care of the customer. You can't be shortcutting and just being one and done, in and out type of company. Like you want to leave a lasting impression with them.
Absolutely. And I imagine that bleeds over into the other businesses as well as just a cultural aspect for your technicians and the guys that you work with.
Yeah, it's been fun because each company we get a little better and better. at culture. We get a little bit better about systems and processes and people. And yeah, man, it's been interesting for sure.
So, okay, we bring in, you were not a bug guy, but you were more of a real estate guy, and just how that came about. I love those kind of stories because it kind of is what my story is for this podcast. And just, I'm a landscape architect, and so
Okay.
that's what I went to school for. That's what I
Yeah.
love and I'm passionate about. But with this came from more of a family thing where my grandfather loved to tell stories, and I learned a lot from him, just making sure that I pay attention, making sure I asking right questions. And that bled over into when I was screen printing t-shirts for business owners and getting to know them. And I met a lot of those 8,000 business owners that were kind of like
Yeah.
the big burly guys, and just understanding what their story was. But again, it just, the fact that I could hear the stories of how they got started, or what they were about, or what they were trying to do differently, it means a lot to me, because again, I think it's more important to hear it from you, the owner, about what you feel is most important, what you're passionate about, what keeps you going.
Yeah.
Because as a client, or as someone who's wanting your services, it is definitely a testament to, I love hearing these stories because it helps me just get closer to you, and I feel like I have an opportunity to just share to the other people who are your clients as well, like, look, Cameron's a good guy. Cameron has a story. Cameron has wants that he wants to bleed into all of his business, that it's just is absolutely non-negotiables about how
Yeah.
much they want to provide for you, the customer. So it does mean so much that you can share these kind of things with us, so that we can help share it to the others that may not have heard about you, or may not have been a part of those referral systems, and now can just go off and be like, oh, I know Cameron. He did an episode with Jose. He's a good
Yeah.
guy. I'd love to try him out. I love to hear experience what this is about. For me,
Yeah, man.
especially, I love just hearing a little bit more about just how the other, like the carpet cleaning, and just, what made you decide, okay, I've done this aspect. How can I make this other side of the business, or how does this bleed over into these other avenues,
Yeah.
into making something new?
Yeah. So, I mean, I think where a lot of entrepreneurs start to venture out from their baby, like I did, was one, maybe getting a little bit bored,
Mhm.
and two, not making the financial amount of money that they would wish or like that they were making.
Yeah.
And that was my story. So, 2016, we finally started taking money from the company. In 2017, I think I was taking 300 or 400 grand, but it still wasn't what I was wanting to make.
Mhm.
And I saw, our customers were just kept chirping at us like, hey, do you guys know a good pool guy? Do you know a good, alarm guy? Do you know this? Do you know that? And we're just
Yeah.
like, man, they love Green Mango and they love who we are. And it, in my mind, I was thinking like we're letting revenue walk out the door. And around that time, I finally got smart and started hiring people. So I went
Mhm.
from working, the 16 to 18-hour days to 8 hours a day.
Yeah.
And when you've worked that many, those long hours for that long, it just becomes normal. So when you go back to an 8-hour day, it's like, dude, I felt like the laziest guy in the whole world.
You got the
And
itch. You got like, I got to do
it bothered
something.
me. Yeah, it was a bad feeling, like, borderline depression. And that's when all the other companies started. So I didn't want to be the jack of all trades, master of none. So in each company, I went and I found a business partner that was an expert in that field.
Got
So
it.
we'd find a carpet cleaner, we'd find an alarm guy, we'd find, all these different guys, these pool guys, and we'd partner with them and we'd give them equity so that they have an invested interest. Because there's no
Okay.
way a company can succeed and, be, get off the ground, or let alone be successful, if you don't have a owner operator living and breathing that business.
Yeah.
So what we do is we find that guy, give him equity. Now he has invested interest and he's helping us out. He runs the operations and like the process of the actual, service. And then we bring the marketing, the financing, and the systems and processes into place. And that's
Nice.
what we did, man. And to be honest, some of them were failures. Some of them have succeeded. And I always tell people, if you're wanting to make the most money, you just stay in your niche. Like, don't look up until you're making the amount of money and you've taken over complete market dominance. If you want the best education, go start a bunch of different service companies. And that was the situation for me, man. And it's been a crazy ride, and I wouldn't take it back. It was the worst financial decision I ever made, opening up all these companies,
Yeah.
because I went back to working those 16-hour days and liability for payroll and marketing and all those things. But it was the best business college I could have gone through, because I got to learn a lot of things, man. And
Yeah.
it is fun.
Well, I mean, it again is like you said, if you want to succeed at something, I mean, I think you went about it the best way is like you're not the expert at this other thing. Let me go help out, or let me go seek out
Yeah.
someone who is an expert, and let me go
Yep.
and use my like the finance that I have in my own area to bleed over into this other, and so I can feed him as well as myself and have
Yeah.
that kind of ongoing relationship there. And I think it's wonderful because again, it's like if you want a successful transition into another area, I think yeah, that's the best way to go about it because you're just you're going past all of the issues that you would through the learning process and skipping all of that and actually getting the expert and getting all the things that come along with having an expert alongside you. So I'd love to ask you where'd the names come from because they're unique names in that you have the coconut part, you have the green mango, they seem fruit based, but can you give us a little insight on that?
Yeah, so when I started Green Mango, I had a business partner. I just recently bought him out last year, but
Hmm.
he's been the brains behind the marketing side. I'm the systems and operations guy, and he's the marketing, and he's a genius when it comes down to that. But when he first came up with the name, he lived in Brazil for a couple of years. He served a mission in Brazil,
Okay.
and he's probably a little bit exaggerative, but he's like, I lived off of mangoes. Like that's all I ate. Like it was my way of life. And
Nice.
so when we started in 2010, everyone was starting to get on this like natural green products for your children, the stuff that you eat, all that good stuff. And so we wanted something to incorporate to kind of get that touch and feel that we were a natural company. We were committed to using the safer products for pets and also children.
Mhm.
And so he called it Green Mango because green to give that vibes, mango because that's what he lived off of in Brazil, and his pest control business was going to be what he lived off of. And so it was kind of a funny name at first. I was like, dude, I don't want to be your partner, and plus that name just sounds dumb. Green Mango, come on, man. But it's been fun to watch people try and duplicate it and make fun of it in the past, and now it's a household name, and so it's been fun. And so as we started the other companies, I think we just kind of kept on with that trend and
Yeah.
and kept going with it. So we've had Pineapple Pools, Black Hat Security, Coconut Cleaning, Agave Auto Glass, and then Phoenix Power, which was solar. So
Yeah.
it's been fun, man.
Dude, it's just one of those things where it's like, yeah, it just when you start off with one thing and then you want to make sure that it's kind of like this umbrella corp, like where it's like there's similar names, stylings, and stuff like that, so that they all kind of come into one arena where you're just like, yeah, they're all part of
Yep.
one system. So I think it's smart branding too. It's just you have this level of like, okay, we have the mango, we have the coconut, we have all of these other fruits, and it just makes sense. I think it's really well done for the marketing perspective. I love asking these questions just because it really does show some unique factors in every single business that you have and just how you guys go about it. So it just really makes me laugh that it stems from a journey of your partner's behalf of like I live off
Yeah.
mango. So but it
Yeah.
works. I mean, I genuinely am surprised that like some people how they choose their names and sometimes where it's just like it's kind of crazy, but it's just like I think that's just such a unique story that I think people should get to hear. That's really cool. I love to go into because you had brought up just the kind of um you know the risk factor of starting something new and trying to get past the humps and the valleys of what you have to do to get this new business up and running. I'd love to understand because I know you're a family guy and what your significant other had to say as soon as you went from like, hey, look, we're gonna do pest control, and now I'm gonna move into this other business, and it has nothing to do with pest control. It's just something
Yeah.
completely different.
I think it's one of the most important things as an entrepreneur is having a partner that supports you in what you're doing. And I got lucky. It's not, if I would have done it differently, I would have had the communication and talked with her before, but we never had those talks. And I think that's a mistake. I've had business partners that, have gone divorced and it's not easy. And that's not to say like they had a bad spouse or anything, but I just, when I'm talking to entrepreneurs and they're getting ready to take this journey, I talk a lot about having a supportive wife. Hey,
Mhm.
what, is her goals your goals? Does she understand where you're wanting to go? When you think
Absolutely.
about business, and I heard this stat the other day because, we're our own worst critics, right? Like we lose 10 pounds and everyone's telling us, hey, you look great, you look great. And to us in the mirror, it's like, man, I'm still that fat guy. And we can't acknowledge the growth that we have. And business is no different. Like, I look around, I got over 300 employees and I'm still like, yeah, we got to do more. We got to do more. And I heard this stat the other day that there's 33 million companies, right?
Mhm.
Only 4% of those companies ever get to $1 million in revenue. And
Wow.
only 7% of the 4% ever get to $10 million in revenue. And then of those 7% of the 4%, only 7% of those get to 10 million or are profitable. Only 40% of those are profitable.
Wow.
And I'm just looking around thinking, wow, man, almost all my companies, even though I've sold most of them off, we've all done more than $1 million in revenue. All six of the companies have done over a million. Um, three of which have done over 10 million. And Green Mango is my biggest one where, they're all like three of them are profitable. And I'm just pinching myself because it's like I beat the odds. And it's the
Yeah.
first time the past couple of months where I've just sat there and just told myself like this is amazing. And it's amazing because I've had a supportive partner. I've had amazing people around me. If you're looking in the mirror and you're saying, "Hey, I can do this all by myself," you're absolutely wrong. You need a supportive spouse, and you need great people, and that's managers. That's your everyday technician. You need
Yep.
your team of finance auditors. I could go on forever about that, but it's just you need that support system, and you need to rely on people, and
Yeah.
that's how you don't drive yourself crazy. That's how you get a balanced wheel in life. A lot of entrepreneurs come to me. I talk a lot about a balanced wheel. I hired a life coach in 2015 or 16. It was the single greatest thing I ever did. It was over
Nice.
$100,000 a year. So it was a very expensive investment for me, but it absolutely changed the game. And that's what people need to do. They need to have mentors in their life. They need to
Mhm.
be watching, YouTube channels on how to grow businesses and how to become profitable and all those different things. A lot of people think you can just skip college and be an entrepreneur and not have to, go through the educational piece of it.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to learn somehow. You got to put in your time. There's no shortcutting
Yeah.
this at all.
It's the idea of like the 10,000 hours. That's how you're going to learn the thing that you want to do, is that you have to go through those elements of education, the wins and losses, all of that in between, and then that is going to give you everything of your knowledge to help you grow and be better. I love that you are honest about, having these elements around you that help you get better. And the one thing that you brought up was the life coach, and just having that person give you guidance and be someone who you can lean on. I love that, because at where I'm at right now with this is I'm becoming more aware that this is something that I want to do more. And this is something that I have a great appreciation for as a legacy piece for not only myself, but for hopefully my family and my son. And so I want to treat this way better than what we've been doing in the past. And so we're gaining momentum as that goes forward. And for myself, I just know that I'm not the expert at what I do, but I am someone who has some knowledge, has some experience, and has
Yeah.
a little bit of everything. I want to take that and hopefully find someone like a mentor. I do get my education from the YouTube University.
Yeah.
I have channels that I watch, but I haven't found that mentor yet that I feel like can I can lean on the most. My wife is very much a supportive element. She takes she takes great pride in what we do here. And so it's just, again, all those aspects that you brought up, I am connecting with. And I feel like it's just something that I have some of, but not all of it. And that's
Yeah.
definitely something that I show great appreciation because you're someone who has beat the odds, and I want to beat the odds myself. So I'm going to take note of, okay, he did this, he did that. I have this that I still need to fill in. I have this that I still need to reach out and still do. So
Yeah.
thank you for those elements. I really do appreciate them. It's really fun to hear that aspect of it. So I was going to ask you this part, which was like, how do you keep balance, and how? And it sounds like the mentors are one aspect of it. Your family life is another aspect of it. It's just, I know that you wear a lot of hats. I wanted to ask you, is like life balance and your day to day, just behind the scenes. You are on the road with your daughter, and you are on the road right now. If you are watching this through the video element, you can see that you're in your vehicle. But I'd love to just understand, what are some of those things that keep you, um, you know, happiest in your life, in just kind of this balance of work life situation.
Well, so the thing that changed my life in the one of the first things that my life coach introduced to me was the balance wheel. And there's a few different balance wheels out there. Some of them have between 7 to 9 different categories, finances, religion, relationships, money, fitness, stuff like that.
Mhm.
And just like anything in life, you need to do an assessment on where you're at
Okay.
and you rate yourself, right? So you give yourself a score from, 1 to 10, 1 being the worst, 10 being the best.
Mhm.
And a lot of people, surprisingly enough, don't know that it's better to have a 2 or a 3 all the way around the wheel than a 7 here, a 3 here, a 9 there. And you want to even it out. So let's say I rate my finances a 7, but my relationships with my spouse or my family's at a 2.
Mhm.
You need to take some of that score from that 7 or that time and bring it to the relationship so that you even out around a 3 or 4 in both. And that's what's going to truly make you a lot happier. And a lot of people, including myself, I've been off balance the past 3 months. There's been some fires in my company that I felt like I needed to jump into. And,
Yeah.
there's categories on my balance wheel that have just tanked, honestly. And, I'm not as happy, as I
Yeah.
could be. And, it's kind of an internal alarm for me. It's like, hey, check the balance wheel, get back in check and get everything back to an even score, even if that's fours all the way around.
Mhm.
And that's how life is. That's how business is. When you look at your P&Ls each month, if your revenue is down and your cogs are up, or, it doesn't work. Everything needs to be balanced, right? And your life is no different. And a lot of people don't know how to assess, truly where they're at or what to categorize them at. And so I encourage people, I have the balance wheel that I can share with you the link so you can post it. It's a
Awesome.
free app that you can go on. It's from my life coach, and you can accept all the categories or not, and you can make your own balance wheel of what's important to you. Like religion's one category for me. Well, there's
Mhm.
some people out there that aren't religious, so they probably wouldn't want that on there. That's not part of their balance wheel, and that's okay. So pick out the categories that are on your wheel and get it balanced, and you truly will be a happier person and an
Mhm.
individual, especially if you're an entrepreneur. Because if you're an entrepreneur, all your time and effort is going to go into that finance category and work category, and everything else is going to suffer, and you won't succeed. That's when the
Yeah.
divorces happen. That's when the depression happens. That's when you hear these entrepreneurs that finally make it and are rich, but then they've lost everything because of it. Their family relationships, they have no
Yeah.
relationship with their kids or nothing. And that's what it is. And so I don't know. I try my best, man. I'm not perfect. We're at a cheer competition right now. Luckily, Lexi, my assistant, was like, "Hey, don't forget about this podcast today." I told my wife, I'm like, "Hey, I got to run out to the car really quickly and do this podcast." And she understands. She knows that 6 months ago, I told her, I said, "Hey, I want to double down on telling my story. I want
Yeah.
to double down on my brand. I want to inspire other entrepreneurs." And part of that is going on podcasts with people that, I don't know, and getting to know them and telling our story. And so when I'm at, this cheer competition, I tell her, hey, sorry, like, because I never do podcasts on Saturdays, but I think that's the only time you had available.
Yeah.
And
And that's something that is for, again, it's like, I relate to you. It's like, I told my wife, it's like he goes to school 3 days a week. The other time I'm with him. And then the weekend really is where
yeah,
we rise and grind together. And she knows that. And so some of the times, and I'll speak to this, it's like, I have to limit those aspects of like, okay, well, when are we recording? When are those things? And a lot of the times we do have a couple of days where we are free, and it's just, I guess, scheduling wise, but it's just like some of the times it's just the weekends that I
yeah,
can record. And that's, it's a, not a non-negotiable, but it's a hard thing to understand when you are, just like on the outside looking in, and you're like, why are you just doing that? Because I would much rather be a present father for my son and let my, and do all these things while he's napping or when he's with mom, shopping and
yeah,
all of these other elements, than to when he comes home and he's like, dad, 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 and not be there for him and not show
yeah.
him love and appreciation. Because that's one element that I would say is in my book, or one thing that I would love to say. It's like fatherhood has
Category.
been a
Yeah.
great category for me. I have a really great relationship with my son, and that is something that I want to keep at a, if I can, at an all-time high as much as I can. But I know there will be days where it's like harder than others, and I just want that to be seen right now, is that I've steered into that element of fatherhood and made that a priority as much as I can, along with family, this podcast, my other work that I do, my health and wellness. Like those are all something that I work hard on, and I try and keep track of as much as possible. So you bring up a lot of things that I'm connecting with, and I
But
really,
that's the point though, right? Like at some point you and your wife had that conversation. You're
yep.
like, hey, on Saturdays I need to record 2 or 3 podcasts or one
Mhm.
podcast, whatever it is. So when it's Friday night and you're saying, hey, here's the schedule tomorrow, there's not a fight happening.
Yep.
And when I just left the cheer competition, she, I just sprung it on her literally 5 days before. I'm like, crap, I forgot about this. I got to run out there. And she's like, cool, go. Like there, whereas most cases, if you don't have that communication, that's when fights happen. I'm coming
Mhm.
back into a hostile environment. My head's not here to give the
Yep.
best interview for you and the people. And that's where you see entrepreneurs and their wives growing apart because the communication isn't there. They're on different levels.
Mhm.
And that's where I'd encourage any listener that out there that's an entrepreneur. If you have, a spouse, make sure you guys are on the same level. Because if you're not growing together, you as an entrepreneur are going to grow so much that you're going to grow apart and it's going to cause problems in the future.
Yep.
100%.
Yep. I agree 100% with you. I mean, again, we're connecting on so many levels that I really do appreciate you giving me so much time and honesty here, because this is something that I feel like takes a longer podcast than if like, someone else who's not just like so open about who they are as an entrepreneur. So thank you again. I do appreciate it. It means a lot. And so I usually kind of, we're reaching towards the end, and I really want you to get back and see your daughter's recite your
No, you're good,
competition.
man. You're good.
We're reaching the end of our conversation. I steer towards the future and kind of goal setting and how you go about that. So if you could give us a little insight on some goal sets that you have for each of the business and how you go about doing that. Is that a yearly thing, a monthly thing, a quarterly thing? That would be great.
Yeah. So, if you're going to start a business today, some of the most critical people, in my opinion, is a CFO or a controller, and
Mhm.
then to have auditors because they're the ones that can tell you exactly what's going on in the business. And I understand if you're starting out and you have low amounts of capital, I get it. Have a good bookkeeper that can categorize things properly and let you know. But one of the blessings that I've had is, over the past few years, I've been able to hire really great people that are a lot smarter than I am to help me do forecast and modeling. And so how we do it now is that we have a 5-year plan of where we
Okay.
want to be. And it's broken down into years. And then that's broken down into quarters. And then that's broken down into months. And that's broken down into weeks. And we're getting lifetime data on what we're doing and where we're going. And
Nice.
a lot of it's forecast and modeling off of the past 3 years. So a lot of my 5-year model is me operating at about 5 to 10% more efficient on a what we call a base case scenario. So it's not the worst case, it's not the base case, but it's right there of like, hey, this is possible. We just need to become a little bit more efficient in some of the areas, because with the volume that we're doing now, 0.5% to 1% every department is millions of dollars. And that's what we're working on. And that's what's become fun. And I think one of the mistakes that I made when I started a company is I didn't have a 3-year goal. I didn't have a 5-year goal. It's like, hey, let's just put everything back into the company. Let's get as big as we can. You need to be intentional. You need to work the numbers backwards. I'm reading the book with Elon Musk right now, and I love the story about the Model 3. His goal was produce 5,000 Model 3s a week, and he had all the hedge funds shorting his stock, meaning that they didn't believe in him that he was going to hit it. He had drones, circling over his factory, calculating how many trucks or vehicles he was putting out. At the time, he was doing about 3,000 to 3,500 a week, and he only had 2 factories. And they're doing all the numbers, and they're saying, hey, it's not possible. If he was going to open up another factory, he would literally have to go get a permit. It would take a year. He'd have to build it, all these different things. And because Elon is the guy that he is, and he doesn't accept no, which is the spirit of any successful entrepreneur. They don't hit they don't hit roadblocks. They hit detours. Okay, can't go this way. Let me find a different way, and they make it great. Elon found out that I'll put a tent in the parking lot next to me, and I'll create an assembly line. Okay, created an assembly line out of a parking lot with a tent. He hit his 5,000 a week goal of Model 3s and crushed those companies. And that's what it's all about, man, is you're finding a way, and you're making goals, you're making plans. So when you're starting out and you're saying, hey, I want to beat the odds. I want to be the 4% out of the 33 million companies that hit $1 million. Find a way. Don't tell yourself you can't do it. You can. You just need to become, you just need to find that detour when something hits you. That's what successful entrepreneurs do. The ones that, hit the roadblock and just give up are the ones that fall underneath that, 6% percentile of that, example.
Mm-hmm. I mean, again, there's just so much I can take away from our conversation here today. You have given me so many insights, so many actual factual numbers, that the fact that you have all of these in your head is just incredible. That's amazing that you have these kind of things that are swirling around in your head and you can keep track of them. Because again, for me, I would like to say I'm the dreamer of, the yin and yang that is my relationship with my wife, and she is the businessy end. She is very much numbers, facts, things like that. And so she keeps me grounded. I love the high flying ideas, love the bigger picture of like, we could do it. So between the two of us, I think that's what makes our model so great, is that we can have the dream and also have the numbers behind it as well, and produce at a really great rate. So I really do appreciate you giving me so many insights on what your business does, how much you go about your own like day-to-day life, and just really produce on that scale. So it's incredible. I have no doubt that you are a successful businessman, and you will go forward doing the same things and live a very healthy, incredible business life. And I really do mean this from the bottom of my heart. Keep doing it, because it really does go forward and show those around you and those who are listening right now that you are an individual that we can look up to, have guidance from. And I really do respect it and appreciate it, Cameron.
Hey, man, I appreciate that, man. Appreciate you taking the time and doing this podcast. And I know it's a lot of work and a lot of effort and a lot of preparation and a lot of money and all those things, man. So you're winning, bro. I appreciate you.
So at the end here, we give you the chance to tell everyone where they can find you online, any physical address, phone number, email, whatever you want. The floor is yours to promote everything and anything under the sun. Go right ahead.
Yeah, man. So I love to connect with people. Like I said, I'm building my Instagram. It's my first letter of my name, C Bawden, BAWDEN. You can DM me there, and I love to connect. And like I said, I'm trying to build the brand there. If you want to come see the office, we're happy to do office tours.
Nice.
You want to connect with other, business owners and any entrepreneur, man. There's people that helped me that I want to help out. And that's a big part of my why for my brand and what I'm trying to do, is because that's what it's about. It's not what you know, it's who you know. And so if I can help you in some way, connect you with someone, if I can't help you or whatever it might be, I just want to help. I want to help, increase that 4% number so that people are making money, being successful, providing opportunities for other people. That's what it's all about.
Yeah, man, I'm definitely down. I'm gonna grab your information after this, after we stop recording, and I really do want to come out and, if not see the where you guys are located, but if not, let's get together and have a good conversation over lunch or something like
Yeah,
that.
man.
Because I really do. When I meet someone like yourself who has incredible story, but not only that, but facts and demonstration of what they've done to get to where they're at, it just, to me, it's like I need more of it. I need to ask more questions. I have so many more that are in my head, but relegate our time to a very solid 30 minutes here. But
I
thank you
get it, man.
again. I really do appreciate it, and I hope everyone will be encouraged to follow your Instagram, go forward and go seek out everything from Green Mango Pest Control, and we'll definitely shout you guys out. And I'm definitely going to grab the information link for the book and make sure people who are entrepreneurs have that available as well. And before we go, we have an outro for us. You can hear every episode of our podcast at findingarizonapodcast.com. Everything social media wise, Finding Arizona Podcast. And last but not least, if you want to send us an email, tell us who you want in next, findingarizonapodcast@gmail.com. Last but not least, we always end every conversation with kisses, hugs, and belly rubs to our four-legged friends. We will see you next time.